The Bob TV Network presents, broadcasting live from the greatest city in the world, New York City. It's the Bobby Brown Show. And now here's your host, Bobby Brown.
Good day. Welcome to another episode of the Bobby Brown Show. Got a little delay going on with the computer again. As always, it's always something. Always something getting in the way when I'm trying to get stuff done on time. Even as I'm looking at the stream, it look like my latency is a little bad. But nevertheless, I'm here and let's get right into it. First of all, I want to thank those who gave to the super chat. I had a list of your names there for those who donated to the efforts of Bob TV. And I always go back to into this building. As you can see, I got a new setup versus the old setup that I have. Next thing coming tomorrow is a monitor in the back with the logo and the topics of the day that'll be in the back. So I'm trying to do a little something. I'm trying to do a little setup because the other setup I had, it was hard with the lighting and things like that, and this is just a little bit. So I got a lot of things I want to talk about. So before I get into it, let me go ahead and put this up because YouTube is stifling this channel. YouTube is advertising on my channel, but they claim that they cannot monetize my channel because it's not advertiser friendly. I am going to build a couple more channels that's advertising friendly, but I don't expect to be advertising friendly. This is the Bobby Brown Show, where the truth shall make you free. Never said set you free, but make you free is the real terminology of that, where the truth will make you free. And we're here to do whatever we can to just tell the truth. And from street issues, entertainment issues, sports, you name it, we try to tell the truth no matter what the subject is, what the topic is. We'll deal with it here on the Bobby Brown Show. So let me get into this disclaimer right away. Everything that I do here is in good faith. YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Mob Crush, you name it. Rockfin, you name it. This work contains fair use of copyright and non-copyright images from the public domain and the web for non-commercial and non-profit educational purposes. This work is distributed free of charge. I have no members only page just to get this kind of content. None. I don't even focus on my Patreon account anymore. I say if you want to donate right directly to the PayPal account. And it is a donation. The author has neither monetized this work nor sought any profit from its distribution. Not trying to make money off this. I got to work just like everybody else. I got to build just like everybody else. Not trying to become a rich YouTuber. It's not going to happen on this kind of platform in the first place. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism. I know I critique. I'm a hardcore critic. Comments. I comment, you guys comment. We all comment up here. News reporting. I do report the news once in a blue. Teaching. Every now and then I do teach some things up here. Scholarship and research. I do a lot of research in order to get this information. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Non-profit. That's what the Bob TV channel is. Educational or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. Nonprofit, I'm not taking nobody money. You don't have to pay for this. Educational and personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. This work contains original work of commentary and critical analysis. So what you're going to see here is web pages, videos from other web pages, and all that. Quotations are attributed to the original author and sources. So that is my stance here. This channel is a free channel. I don't have a members only. I mean, if I do a members video, I'm not charging you to, to watch the video. I think I do have a members, but I don't care nothing. I just appreciate your support. I don't appreciate social media trying to stifle me. What's going on 11, 12. We would have been at the verge of 20,000 by this time of year, but YouTube has suppressed us. Plus, a lot of lefties don't like the things I got to say. A lot of lefties want to think they're living in a utopia when it's not really that way for my people, black people. So I talk a lot about black issues. I talk about black upliftment, black liberation. Talk about black empowerment. I talk about financial empowerment. I don't talk about what they call black supremacy. I just believe we should get what's rightfully ours so we can have an even playing with the people who brought us here to this country. So let's get into this right now. The first story I want to talk about today is AOC. You see her right there kissing up the mama bear, Nancy Pelosi. Say what you want, man. This lady represent my old district when I was living in Bronx Park East. And she represent a district where I'm good friends with the state congressman of New York, Congressman Louis Sepulveda, and Ruben Diaz Sr., and whose son happened to be the Bronx Borough President, Ruben Diaz Jr., who is, I don't know if he's running again. He might be running for state senate. I don't know, but he would get it because Democrats love him. They kiss his behind, and he kissed their behind. While I'm on this, let me let you know I do not endorse Andrew Yang for the mayor of New York. Andrew Yang come from the cut cloth of Barack Obama. Andrew Yang got his big break under the administration of Barack Obama. He talked a good game. He'll bring up UBI because Bernie Sanders didn't have the balls enough to bring it up when he knew that's what Dr. King was pushing, but yet he claimed to be from the same order of Dr. King. Got to be a joke. He is not from New York. I mean, I'm from here. I'm not originally from New York. I'm from Virginia. You could never, I would, if I had an opportunity to run for mayor in New York, I wouldn't, because I don't know New Yorker like real New Yorkers know New York. There's people been here since day one, from the gutter. There's people been here since birth that's running for office. And it would be a shame for somebody to take a national platform, make himself look good, running for office in order to try to take advantage of the mayorship in New York, when there's capable, good people down here in New York who's been here from the jump, who's been at the bottom, helping help deal with housing issues, dealing with lead paint issues, dealing with contaminated water issues, fighting for trash and sanitation. There's so many people out here that's running for office, but they don't get the platform that Andrew Yang get because he didn't run for president, because they didn't get a chance to run for president. Now, next week, I'll tell you who I'm endorsing. Still checking the brother out. But he got a vision for New York. And it's way better than Andrew Yang. Andrew Yang don't really have a real concrete vision for New York. And to me, honestly speaking, let the people who've been here since Jumpstart that's have a history of working for the people in New York, let them get a chance to run this city. It's not about your billions. It's not about how successful organization you got. That's that Trump stuff. Successful companies, and no, we're not going for that. We want grassrooters. The best politicians are the activists. The best politicians are activists. Now, speaking of activists, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who claims to be an activist. Yeah, she just act. That's all she do is act. There's a difference between an actor and an activist. People, stop letting these people weave you in with their strings or their web of words to make you think that they are leading the progressive movement. Bernie Sanders is no longer the leader of the. If you're allowing Bernie Sanders to lead you as a progressive, then something is wrong with you. If you letting people like AOC talk that game, acting like they're the leaders of progressive, something wrong with you. Number one, progressives are not in a public in a freaking party and care less about the party. Number two, true progressives, all they focus is on what you're gonna do. And when you got a chance to get it done, we're going to be on your ASK to make sure you get it done. We're going to be on your URSE, URSE. We're going to be on your back. We're going to breathe down your neck. You can call it violence. You can call it, we ain't playing no games. It's one thing I love about this generation is, this new generation is, they ain't about that plan. They're not going to be caught up in the Democratic web or the Republican web like our previous generation. You know, the people who didn't make Joe Biden give up something for that vote. And it's changing. The next generation say, no, you're going to earn this. And we ain't going to give you the... No, we need some solid promises, some solid commitments before we give you any backing. And once you get in office, if you're not on it, we're going to be on your ASK, URS. Representative Casio says that Biden win means a lot for progressives. She even had the nerve to say out of her mouth that he exceeded progressives' expectation. She said that he exceeded progressives' expectation. Oh boy. See if I can get some sound.
Sophomore.
Thank you so much. Good to level up.
Let me ask you, Congresswoman, how much does President-elect Biden owe the progressive movement and progressive leaders for his victory?
Well, I think
Guys,
I believe that
Gonna
President
fight for
Biden,
everybody.
in his wonderful acceptance speech last night, he acknowledged the enormous role that communities of color, Black communities, Latino communities, the trans community, etc., played in his victory. And we also know that majorities of these communities are progressive. They make up not just the progressive.
Stop this. This is what makes me so angry at AOC. Let me go back to this. And she always talking progressive. Girl, you just a Justice Democrat. Just a Democrat. You're not progressive. You talk the game, but when it's come time to push some progressive policies, you drop the ball. Heck, you won't even pick up the ball. You run the other way saying, don't give me the ball. What's the use of you being on a freaking team when somebody on the ball, when the coach tell Joe to throw the ball to you so you can go for the layup and you move your hand out the way and go sit on the bench? That's exactly what AOC does. I'm the best shooter around. They don't like me. I got game. Man, I'll run up on all of y'all. Lay up here, lay up there, slam, alley-oop there. Y'all don't want to touch me. Give her the ball. Why y'all give me that ball? Don't know what y'all trying to do. Trying to see if you really got the skills to pay the bills or you just all talk. But let me go back to this.
For his victory?
Well, I think I believe that President Biden, in his wonderful acceptance speech last night, he acknowledged the enormous role that communities of color, Black communities, Latino communities, the trans community.
All right, so let's stop there. In his beautiful speech, the speech was not beautiful. Barack Obama, that was a beautiful speech. I bought into it. That was a beautiful. Even his second term speech, he almost got me. He didn't get me because I ain't vote for him. I voted for somebody else. But I wasn't voting for Barack Obama. I mean, once I saw him just kind of blow black people off when we asked him what's up with us, why you do everything for white women. Why the first bill that you passed was the Lilly Ledbetter Act for white women, but you ain't do nothing for black people who getting out here brutalized on the streets. What's up? Well, look here, we got something on the table. Me and Joe, and we're gonna make that happen. Just vote me in for another term, and the first 2 years, Sasha gonna lead this, and we're gonna get the job done. Didn't do jack. First of all, AOC, it wasn't black and brown people that got Joe Biden over the hump. It wasn't lesbians and gays. See, that's that talk of the Democratic Party, the talk of inclusion, that it was all of us. Well, I can say this, a vote does count. But when you don't acknowledge who really got you over the hump for the win, then I got a problem with you. Can you actually say black people deserve more because black people got Joe Biden over the hump and Kamala Harris over the hump, whom black people really canceled, but Joe Biden then put her in anyway because she ain't had no chance of winning her re-election, so he had to do something to save her career. And they worked that deal in South Carolina because she was taken away from his ability to win with Bernie Sanders there. There was a little splitting up the votes on all three. She dropped out, and that was the deal. Master plan from Barack Obama. First of all, you're saying that beautiful speech. First of all, you recently say that Joe Biden has exceeded our expectation. Where the heck did he exceed our expectation? How? We ain't got $15 minimum wage. When it was time for you to put Medicare for all for a flow vote in order to put the heat on Nancy Pelosi, you was too much of a punk to do it. And you got more juice than Nancy Pelosi. You got more popularity and all that. I don't know why. Recently, her popularity has slipped a little bit. And if she keep playing games like this, it will slip. The only thing they can do is preach the gospel of what there's nobody better than him, her, Bernie Sanders. Let me tell you something, folks. It ain't about who's better. If you ain't getting the job done, I don't care if you are better. What's the use of Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson talk all that trash on the microphone and then go in the ring and back it up? Or Muhammad Ali. One thing I like about Mike Tyson, he didn't talk. And if he did, he would say something to scare the crap out of it. I'm going to take your cranium and I'm going to crush it in half and I'm going to eat it for dinner. Stuff like that. He would say something to scare you. These people don't scare me. And the reason they get away with stuff like this, with the stringing you along with the progressive talk, the people of color, and I lead progressives and we progressives, you get out of here with that mess. You're just a Democrat. And these freaking talking points right here.
Etc. Played in his victory. And we also know that majorities of
etc. Folks, I showed you the chart. Black people voted for Joe Biden in the high 90%. Primarily because we were sold into you better vote for Biden because Trump gonna kill all of y'all. That's what they said that about George Bush. You're still here. And black people, you gotta stop falling for that fear mess. Ain't no president can put nothing down to take you down. You are the people. If those Trump numbnuts can shake up Capitol Hill, imagine what you can do just because you guys get together in a huge number. They had to pass a bill in Florida because they don't want people congregating together. If me and 5 of my homies stand on the street, they can say I'm trying to start a riot and try to run me in jail. They have to pass laws to keep people from assembling, and it's mostly black people from assembling, not all people. Point is, we got people that's coming to our side. We got people from all colors that see the truth of how racist, how how un-American America has become lately. Sure, we're going forward, but we're taking 2 steps back with every little dumb act that happens either in Congress or either happen
Your
by
daughter's
the
out
people.
there, and you can't do anything to help her.
These communities are progressive. They make up not just the progressive base, but the base of the Democratic Party. And so I believe that, you know, when we gin up the grassroots and we celebrate them to the election, we should also celebrate them in our governance. So I think a fair amount for us. I think we owe everyday communities. I think we owe the poor, middle class, working class, black communities, communities of color, immigrant communities, a great deal in seeing them and honoring them in our legislation.
All right, before you say anything, Jake Tapper, that ain't his porn name, but it sounds like one. Before you say anything, Jake, you doggone right you owe. Now, first of all, AOC, it wasn't progressive blacks that put Joe Biden over. It was mostly conservative blacks in South Carolina. Conservative blacks that have been bought in that Trump bad, Republican bad, and Democrats are so good to you. Democrats love you. We got your best interests. We're going to do so great for you. What? Reparations, man. You got to get out of my face with that reparation. You better start reparation. What about this Asian hate crime? And y'all expecting a reparation? Yeah, because we ain't committing the Asian hate crime. And I'll get to that story in a minute. This is what these Democrats, these Justice Democrats, the so-called squad, the so-called progressive Democrat, they want to own the title progressive, and they doing their best to own it. Well, let me tell you something, girl, you don't own it. Cenk Uygur don't own it. Nobody owns it. No party owns the word progressive, the home of progressives. Get the crap out of here. The home of progressives is on the street. Progressives mean you're progressing in life. People who want things to matter more for the people. Not degress, not regress, not digress, but progress. And folks, you got to get in these politician faces. Don't mention progressive. You don't own that word progressives. Until you start doing progressive stuff, don't even let the word come out of your mouth. You're just a Democrat that talk a good game. I get so, and I was going to do a video on this, I get so pissed off, fumed, when Bernie Sanders put dumb posts with, what would it be like for you if all your student loan debts are cancellation? First of all, I ain't got no student loan debt. Most black people don't got student loan. The percentage of black people who actually go to school and get a student loan, and the reason they're encouraged to get it is because their parents are wealthy enough or well off enough to take on the debt. My lady friend right now, you know, she's the type of mother that she'll pay her daughters debt on her college, going to school. And that's what good parents should do. Now me, once you get that job, it's over with, man. I'll pay it while you in school. Once you get to working, you're going to have to help me out. See, I'm a different breed. She's so sweet and kind. That's why, nah, we splitting. We splitting. I can't, and if you get married, oh, shoot, y'all, you got this. Bills coming to y'all house. Y'all married now. You know, I'm only going to take it up for so point, you know. But most black people don't have that. Heck, most people don't have that. So they skip college. So stop talking. And another thing, this talk about student debt cancellation, this talk about Medicare for all, things which I am for after reparations. It ain't part of reparations, not included in reparations. Don't try to lump the nation's crap with our entitlement, so to speak. We're entitled to that. If you want to talk about entitlement, we're entitled to it. You know, if we a student debt will bring down the wealth gap if you cancel student debt. No, it won't. How canceling everybody's student debt going to help bring down the black wealth gap? And how about give us our money and let us pay our own debt? Stop trying to control the money that you owe us. You owe it. All right, I'm getting off base. Just her mouth, man. I don't see how you guys buying it. This is, look, I represented her first term. I knocked on doors. I made phone calls. I passed out flyers because of her. This is how the Justice Democrats do and brand new Congress do and our revolution does. Okay, you believe in this platform. You're aligned with the socialists, Democratic socialists. You believe in their platform. They believe in it, but they don't act on it. They claim they believe and embrace it, but they don't act on it. All right, do you believe in this thing? Do you believe these 5 bullet points of this platform should be initiated in America? Yeah. Then we want to help you run for office. No, I know folks. Folks try to get me to run. You ain't gonna pimp me. And then they get in the office. And once they get that seat of power and taste it, this crap's come out of our people's mouth.
If you could take off your Congresswoman hat for just 1 second, I want to ask you on a personal note, what does it mean to you as a woman of color to see a black woman as Vice President-elect of the United States?
I mean, it's really incredible.
All right. Now here she is. She gonna cut some cake, put some ice cream on it, some syrup and some nuts on top, because she's nuts. Number one, guys, you gotta stop letting these people say this. Black people, I'm definitely telling you this. You are not people of color. You're black. Stop letting us stop trying to let them separate white and everybody else are people of color. No, white people, you're people of color too. You're white. That is a color. And if you want to actually tell the truth and look at the dynamics of color, every color came out of black. Every color. Even our pigmentation, as people went from the culture, from the motherland, from the cradle of civilization and spread it out. Some people say biblically because of the Tower of Babel or whatever, they spread it out in the different areas. Their skin tone began to adapt to that particular area. And everything evolved. So every color come out of black. So the biggest white supremacist racists that hate black people to the guts, guess what, bruh? You're really black. Your pigmentation just changed. And you think you're superior because your pigmentation changed? Get out of here. You go down to the deep depths of your history, you come from blackness. And you got people like Jake Tapper and you got people like AOC spitting this mess out of their mouth. People of color, first of all, you're a Latino. Now, I know that's not a color, but if you want to say you're brown, whatever. Most people in this world, they identify with the regions of their culture. They don't identify with their color. Nigerian people, a lot of Nigerians, they know they black, but they don't go around talk about black. They tell you, I'm Nigerian. I'm Jamaican. I'm Puerto Rican. They identify with that. And let me tell you that when it comes down to dealing with stuff with her people, she'll probably say what she is. I'm Puerto Rican. When people stop, I don't want you guys, this is where the teaching come in of the fair use, YouTube. It is not fair to you and the rest of the world to be saying we people of color. Because what you do is you give another color supremacy over you. And even though the term people of color encamps people of all races, You do not let somebody white separate themselves from being people of color, because they are people of color too. White is a color. Simple, plain, even a little child understands that. But we let these numbnuts on TV play with our emotions. Jake Tapper is a person of color. He just happened to be white. AOC is a person of color. She just happened to be brown. Or if you want to be specific, he's a European American. She's a Latino American.
Incredible. It's for so many of us, especially women, we have grown up, and I know my entire childhood, we grew up being told that women are too emotional and that, this country would never elect first a black president, and luckily that happened with the election of Barack Obama, but now a woman of color and no less a black.
All right, so let's get this straight. Half black, half white. See, they want to move you and smooth you over to sit there and just make you think that, oh, he's just 100% black. He's one of you. No, his mama is black. His daddy is from, Kenya. Barack Obama is not American descendant of slaves. He is not. He does his lineage does not go back to the root of this country and the root of slavery and the effects of it. Even though he claims he's been affected of it, he ain't never, ever been affected of it. Maybe probably as an organizer in Chicago. But once people knew that that man, half of his mama, he was a white Kansas woman and a African intelligent daddy who would never even take up a name of black American. Shame on you. Don't you ever call me a black American. I'm Kenyan. I'm not one of those guys. And then being moved all over the freaking world from Hawaii all the way to Indonesia and stuff like that. That dude never really experienced what majority of black people experience. He was covered and protected by his grandmother and grandfather, his white grandmother and grandfather, who, and well invested into. And then his mama moved to Indonesia. He was protected over there before he got over here to Columbia University. And even then, he didn't venture off into Harlem and stuff like that. You do realize Columbia University is close to the Inwood area, a little outside of Harlem. It's like right before you get to Harlem. That's like the upper, the highest you can get in Manhattan. And speaking of Kamala Harris, again, Kamala Harris never really identified with her father's side. And they still having this debate on first black woman. Was she even less blacker than Barack Obama? But they want to put that up there to try to cater to us black people to make us feel so proud and so honored and so overjoyed and gloried that we got a black woman in there. That woman always saw herself as a Pacific Asian because she's half Asian. She's half Asian. Now, let's be more specific because I told you Asian people are not. Asian people are from India, from Northeast Africa, all those people in the Middle East they consider that Asia. Used to be Persia. That's where you get the Asian from. Mom grew up as the most uppity Indians of all. That look down on anything darker than themselves. That's how she grew up. Her dad was black and Scotch Irish. Jamaican doesn't necessarily mean black. That's just a region. That's his heritage. You see, my whole point is people like AOC and people like Bernie Sanders will play on the people of color, the black woman, the first black man, the first black woman, Asian and all that. They'll use those terms. They'll use identity politics as a web to swoop you into their, until you trap. Well, you can't really make a decision yourself. If I step outside of, I'll get killed. I mean, if I sit out here and try to, of course I'm gonna vote for this person. I know he ain't crap, but he's better than voting for a Republican. Look, all of them crap.
Black woman to the second highest seat in the land. I mean, it's.
You see how they just say that? Let me go back to that.
No less a black woman to the second highest seat, elect first a black president, and luckily that happened with the election of Barack Obama, but now a woman of color, and no less a black woman to.
Woman of color, no less a black woman. Let's get it right. Why you won't just say who she really is? She's more Indian Asian, Bali Indian Asian than she is black, but you won't say that on TV because you need that black to stick up in the forefront, because you need to try to get the blacks to attach to her in 2024, and you're going to use that to get the blacks to push who she's pushing in 2022. Folks, this ain't a game. These people are gaming you. And she's one of the biggest pawns in the game.
The second highest seat in the land. I mean, it's really remarkable, and you can't be what you can't see. That's very often said, and it's so amazing that so many little girls are growing up with this being a norm.
What the heck does that mean? You can't be what you can't see. You don't have to have it in order to actually be it. The whole purpose of faith is you see it before, it happens. You believe it before it happens.
For them.
Biden is planning a wave of executive orders to roll back some of Trump's policies once he takes office, on everything from climate to the so-called Muslim ban. As of now, however, it looks as though Republicans, at least until January, will hold control of the Senate. That's going to complicate your desire and the desire of other progressives for bold, sweeping progressive legislation. I mean, theoretically, you can pass anything you want in the House, but it doesn't matter if it goes to die in the Senate. How are you going to negotiate that? Are you going to work with more moderate Senate Republicans to try to pass something in the House that can get through the Senate?
Well, I'm going to be spending my next couple of months doing everything that I can to extend help and offer support to the work of fantastic leaders that we just heard from, like Stacey Abrams, to make sure that we don't have a Republican Senate majority, that we win these races in Georgia, that we secure a Democratic Senate majority so that we don't have to negotiate in that ways. And so, these Senate runoff races, they're on January 5th, I believe. And it's...
Now, you said, Robert, why are you playing this old video? Because it plays out into what's going on today. Jake Tapper said, look, are we going to work with some of the Republicans? Well, nah, I don't think we want to work with the Republicans. We're going to work hard to get people elected in Georgia. And once we get elected, the Republicans can kiss our behind. We just going to go straight bodyguard hard, pushing progressive legislation, so to speak. So you don't want to work with them hard? Oh, no, forget them Republicans. I'm going to be working with Stacey Abrams. By the way, what's Stacey Abrams been doing since then? And why she didn't get a prominent position? Let me tell you something, my black sisters. Stop kissing these parties behind for power and position. You go bodyguard hard to get people elected and they give you nothing in return. And if it do, it's going to be something low on the low of the totem pole. Instead of being Joe Biden chief of staff or being Joe Biden press secretary, you sit up in the basement about 3 miles away from Kamala Harris's office under the Kamala Harris administration, but yet you were tackling people, knocking people down and going bodyguard hard, covering up for Joe Biden like you're the armor bearer of your pastor. Like you, Kevin Costner, trying to protect Whitney Houston. Where is Stacey Abrams? Where is, what's her name? Simone Sanders. Why she's in press secretary? First of all, she can't lie that good. That's why he got Jim, whatever her name, Jane Saki, whatever her name is. That's why she's in charge, because she's white and she can lie and put a smile on your face and you won't catch it. But according to Joe Biden's thinking, black can't cover up a lie. People gonna see right through them. We're not. I mean, when it comes to conning and hustling, we can do our thing. But when it comes to stuff like that, and you got to get some teachings from some of the greatest black white supremacist handler of all times. But we black people, we can't lie that well, man. Something to give us up. We'll scratch our head, we'll scratch our butt, digging our nose, whatever, trying to lie. Ah, you lying? What do you mean? I saw you scratch your butt. Every time you lie, you scratch your butt. No, I don't. It would just give us away. You ain't good at it.
That is right around the time that that we would be preparing to swear in now President-elect Joe Biden and Vice President-elect Kamala Harris. And I think it's really important that we all work very hard to give them a Democratic Senate as well.
All right. After the election results come back from Georgia, I'm going to ask you that question again, okay? But I'll let I'll let you punt that one now. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi says that she thinks Biden has a tremendous mandate, but Democrats in Congress are potentially looking at a smaller House majority and theoretically a Republican Senate. I want to play something that Virginia Congresswoman Abigail Spanberger said on a conference call of House Democrats this week that you, I'm sure, heard as it happened live. Take a listen.
We need to not ever use the word socialist or socialism ever again. Because while people think it doesn't matter, it does matter. And we lost good members because of that. If we are classifying Tuesday as a success from a congressional standpoint, we will get torn apart in 2022. And excuse the profanity, that's the reality.
I imagine you disagree.
Now, look, before we go into their commentary, that lady is something else. I've been knowing about her from, man, ever since, and I'm from Virginia, man. She been weaving her well. She ain't nothing but a Republican Democrat anyway. She's cut from the cloth of Tim Kaine, Corporate Kaine. She's cut from the cloth Warner. First of all, and I have to tell you the truth because that's what I try to do, most of the people that ran under the banner of socialism or socialists, they ran under the platform that really helped working people. They ran on the platform to boost up unions, things that's going to help people who actually go work jobs, you know, try to get them back to the position of 40 hours a week is enough to pay for a house, pay for a car, pay for your kids to go to school and go on back 2 vacations a year and keep your refrigerator full. That's what those socialists pretty much run on. And, you know, and I'm not a socialist, you know, I do have, like, I'm a hybrid. You can never put me in a box. But most of those people who ran on that didn't get their butt whooped. They won. They got their butt. You got your butt whooped because you would not commit to doing things for the people. And I will tell you, since you want to mention 2022, you're going to get your butt whooped. The Democratic Party is going to lose the House and or the Senate, primarily the Senate, by not delivering for the people. And by not doing whatever you can, even you have to run over the Republicans to get it done. And when I mean running over Republicans, I mean you got to get out there and really, really start doing what they call applying political pressure. Whipping up votes, literally whipping up votes. You got to, you know, I'm not saying doing some Frank Underwood stuff where you know, I kill your mama if you don't do nothing stupid like that. But you got to put the pressure. Don't give me this crap about no Joe Manchin. We all know Joe Manchin is a Republican, just like Joe Biden. Most of the Joe in politics are Republicans. We already know this. The point is, can Joe Biden or will Joe Biden put the political pressure on Joe Manchin to stop being the little pussy that he is? Cat. Pussycat. He can. He just don't want to. He can't say, look, if you keep doing this, man, I'm running somebody against you. I'm getting you out of this. And you're not going to get any deals from me for you or on West Virginia. Y'all didn't vote me in anyway. I don't think they voted him in. Either you're going to get out there and get this $15 an hour done. Heck, they didn't even let him even get a chance to vote no against $15 an hour. They did that. The Democratic Party did that. Sinema and all them fools, they did that. They didn't even let it go in the bill. And you think the word socialist is going to cause you to lose in 2022? It's crap like that that's going to cause you to lose in 2022.
With that assessment, why is she wrong?
So, first and foremost, I want to acknowledge that first of all, just the really hard fight that a lot of our swing district members had. And it is not to deny that Republicans levied very effective rhetorical attacks against our party. That, I believe, is absolutely true. But I think one of the things that's very important is to realize that very effective Republican attacks are going to happen every cycle. And so the question is, how do we defend ourselves against that? If you look at some of these, some of the arguments that are being advanced, that defund the police hurt, or that arguments about socialism hurt, not a single member of Congress that I'm aware of campaigned on socialism or defunding the police in this general election. And these were largely slogans, or they were demands from activist groups that we saw in the largest uprising in American history around police brutality. And so the question that we have is, how can we build in a more effective democratic operation that is stronger and more resilient to Republican attacks? And I believe that there are many areas that we can point at in centralized democratic operations that are extraordinarily weak. For example, our digital campaigning is very weak. And this is an area where Republicans are actually quite strong. President Trump, he won the 2016 election, as we know, largely on digital organizing and strategy. And I believe that many Republicans were very effective at digital organizing and strategy as well, whereas the Democratic Party is still campaigning largely as though it's 2005. And I know a lot of us don't want to hear this, but 2005 was 15 years ago. So we can do better. And then when we really dig down and refine our operations, we can be more resilient to these strong Republican attacks.
You told the New York Times that you almost...
All right, so you want to blame winning and losing on digital campaigns. You were very successful in a digital campaign. You won your election on a digital campaign. You right now is one of the biggest social media followers than anybody in Congress, anybody in the House and Senate, even anybody that has been president in a while. So you know the importance of and the power of a digital campaign. It's the digital campaign that's going to cause you guys to lose in 2022. Because you did not use the digital campaign to push forth the $15 an hour, just like Bernie Sanders build up our revolution and build up a partner group in Justice Democrats, thanks to Cal Kalinske and Cenk Uygur. You build up these phenomenal so-called progressive political units. A lot of them are democratic socialists, and you couldn't even mobilize them to put the pressure on Nancy Pelosi to force the vote. Jimmy Dore, and I don't agree with Jimmy Dore on everything, and I understand Jimmy Dore demeanor and his mindset. A lot of people don't like Jimmy Dore because Jimmy Dore is pretty much caloric with a little sanguine in him, and most of you people, if you don't know about personality traits, you wouldn't understand people, so you can appreciate the different gifts that they have. Some people just no nonsense, ain't gonna take no crap and gonna get in your face about it. They're not gonna be mamby-pamby. And you gotta love those people like that, even though they rub you the wrong way, because you're not like that. You're more of a melancholy type of person. Jimmy Dore used his platform to force the vote, to the point where it irritated you, because that got more pressure on you than it could have got on Nancy Pelosi. But of course, the picture that you saw earlier was all about that. I don't want to put no heat on Mama Bear. I love her. We have dinner. She invite me. She put me on committees and things like that. Not understanding that you got more power and juice than she do, and you could put her on notice and let her know, you won't be speaker. I'll run. And folks, she could have ran. And she could have used her political power through social media to apply the pressure on people like Hakeem Jeffries and all that to put her in the office. Now, would it done anything? No. Because AOC is just a Democrat. She don't care about black people. And right now, she ain't gonna, when it come down to actually doing something, we gonna see if she care about her own people, because she care more about her party than making sure her own people get what they supposed to get. She put Nancy Pelosi over her own people. She put the Democratic Party on her own people. But she'll say, the reason I'm doing that is for my people.
Almost didn't even run for re-election, in part because of treatment from your own party. You said, quote, it's the incoming, it's the stress, it's the violence, it's the lack of support from your own party. It's your own party thinking.
That's a whole bunch of bull crap. She's trying to get sympathy points from the progressives, especially after that forced to vote jump. She's always trying to get sympathy from the grassroots. I'm doing this for you. I'm bringing the ruckus for you. I'm doing this for you, and all I get is mistreated, and the pressure's just too hard. I don't know what to do. I don't think I will run again. I don't think I can do it. I don't think I can do it. Oh, shit. Look at what the New York Times said. It's the incoming. It's the stress. It's the violence. It's the lack of support from your own party. It's your own party thinking you're the enemy. Well, the reason you're supposed to be a justice Democrat instead of just us Democrat is because you get on there. Who cares about them? You need to worry about the stress, the violence, and the lack of support from your own people who got you elected. You're putting the party over the people. You need to worry about whether the people are thinking you're the enemy. And now, with your actions, you're being so subjective, you being so submissive, doggone near sadomasochist to your party, want to let them put you in chains and spank them crap out of you. I know that's hard to say, but it gets to that point. Right now, Nancy Pelosi got her tied up in chains, especially after she pulled that position from her, trying to let her know that she got more power than AOC, when in actuality, you don't have more power than AOC. Because as AOC just did when it came to the storms in Texas, AOC mustered enough support from corporations and from the party and from the people to help send millions down to Texas, but she couldn't do that here in the Bronx. She showed that she can be just as much as a prolific fundraiser than Nancy Pelosi. And instead of putting her on notice, she's kissing her behind.
You're the enemy, unquote. Do you really think other Democrats see you as the enemy? Do you think Joe Biden sees you that way?
I don't believe Joe Biden. I don't believe President Biden sees me that way, and I believe that that's actually.
You want to know why he don't see you that way? Because you don't put no pressure. When you're a mammy-pammy, get along, go along, nobody sees you as a threat. See, at one time I thought the Democratic Party saw Bernie Sanders as a threat. Well, he definitely was a threat to Hillary Clinton. But he definitely wasn't a threat to Barack Obama. And he definitely wasn't a threat to Joe Biden, because Joe Biden was always dogging Bernie Sanders out. Even to this day, I beat the socialists. I beat them. These people playing you, trying to get sympathy points.
Actually, one of the reasons why he won election. You know, there's a marked difference between 2020 and 2016 in how the Democratic Party was able to unify, to Joe Biden's credit, before the election and get everyone on the same page to make sure that we vote Donald Trump out of office. That being said,
who is everyone? You realize how many people didn't vote? You realize how many people that would have voted for Bernie Sanders voted for Trump? Yeah, I know some people say no Democrat would have voted for Trump. Yeah, that's the whole point. There was a lot of people that were not Democrats that wanted that platform. It wasn't even about Bernie Sanders. It was about the platform. They wanted that. And the only reason Joe Biden got any support from any progressives, because you had these blue no matter who numb nuts. The reason he got that support is because Bernie Sanders decided to back out. And the reason that he got any support is Bernie Sanders caved in and just say, Joe, I just want you to push this and I could probably get some of my people to support you. Matter of fact, I tell them they'll be crazy if they support Trump. They need to support you. Yeah, I know you got a bad history. I know you bigot and racist just as much as Trump, and you harm black people, but yet black people, the forgiving, loving people that we are, we're still going to give you a shot better than that doggone Trump. We just going to have to take another risk, hoping that you're not going to do anything. Thank God you're a little older now, and you're in your senile years, and thank God you're not the Joe Biden in 93, because I don't know who to vote for, Trump or you, because both of y'all was crazy. Guys, these people are trying to play you and me for the fool. The bottom line is this. Let me finish this. Talk about the bottom line.
You know, there are, at least in the House caucus, very deep divisions within the party. And I believe that we need to really come together and not allow Republican narratives to tear us apart. You know, as you mentioned, we have a slimmer Democratic majority. It's going to.
In other words, I'm going to be the Democratic whisperer. I'm going to be the one to bring us together. I'm the one that's going to bring us in the middle. Well, you're not going to get them to come over your side. You must going to get these so-called progressives or these so-called aggressors in the party to come on the side of the centrists, because you're not going to get them, the centrists, to come on the side of socialist ways or socialist policies and things like that. You're surely not going to do that. So that is the reason why AOC has morphed into just a Democrat. But maybe she was just a Democrat all along, and she just talked the talk just to get elected. And maybe she's still talking the talk to stay elected.
It's going to be more important than ever for us to work together and not fight each other. And so when we kind of come out swinging, not 48 hours after Tuesday, when we don't even have solid data yet, pointing fingers and telling each other what to do, it deepens the division in the party, and it's irresponsible. It's irresponsible to pour gasoline on these already very delicate tensions in the party. So we can help. It's not saying that every member has to campaign as a progressive in a traditional progressive way, but it's to say that we have assets to offer the party that the party has not yet, fully leaned into or exploited. And I believe that we can take some of these seats. I think Katie Porter's an amazing example. Michael Levin. There are swing seats. Every single swing seat member that co-sponsored Medicare for All won their reelection.
Right.
And so the conversation's a little bit deeper than that, than just saying, you know, anything progressive is toxic and a losing message.
Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, thanks so much again for coming on the show. Congratulations on Joe Biden, Kamala Harris's victory, and I should note, congratulations on your own. You were reelected, so thanks.
Yeah, she was reelected. If you look at the money trail, most of the money isn't coming into the Bronx. After school programs still is underfunding. The schools are still underfunding. Just a whole bunch that needs to happen here in the Bronx. And she's not doing whatever she can to make happen. Then we got this right here. I'm just going to let that stay there for a second. Right now, this is what she's morphing into. She's going to morph herself into the Latino Nancy Pelosi sooner or later. She will eventually become House Speaker if she don't run for governor one day or run for the Senate. And when she get to the age, she'd probably run for president. And if, you got to understand, she's just a Democrat. She's not a justice. She don't fight for the justice. Yeah, let me say that. She's a justice Democrat because she's bringing justice to the Democratic Party, but don't fight for justice for the people. As you heard right then and there, she cares more. She cares more about bringing peace in the party than bringing a peace to the party. In other words, instead of her being a fireball, instead of her being a cannon into the party, like FDR was, as they say, she's morphing into one of them. And she'll, in order to bring everybody together, she'll do what Bernie Sanders is doing. Forget the movement. I'll try to push the policies, but if they don't, I'm not going to put no pressure on them. Okay, Joe didn't push $15 an hour. What can I do? What can I say? I know we're not going to get another shot to get it voted in, but what can I say? I know we had an opportunity to apply the pressure on Nancy Pelosi to put Medicare all to a floor vote. I know we had a chance, but what do you expect me to do? That's Mama Bear, my good friend now. And one of the things I tell people in life in general, when you need to really get something done, don't get familiar with the person who you need to get it done through. Because they'll take your relationship for granted. We got too many people in these political parties that have detached themselves from the people and attached themselves to the party, and in some cases attached themselves to people in the party who really don't know them, really don't give a crap about them. If you end up in the hospital today, they ain't gonna call you, they ain't gonna come see you, they ain't gonna nothing. But you go on bodyguard hard. I'm hearing people talking about, which one is more better, David Pakman or Jimmy Dore? And then people commenting on, I don't care about that crap. Who's more better? Point is, what is David Pakman doing to apply pressure to make sure things get done for the people? What is Jimmy Dore? That's all I care. What are you doing to apply the pressure? Are you using your platform to apply the pressure to get people done for the people? See, I use my platform to apply the pressure on people to get something done, first of all, for my people. So I don't care if you're AOC, I don't care if you're Jamal Bowman. I'm going to say, what's your plan to bring economic prosperity to black people? What is your plan to bring true equality to black people? What do you mean by true equality? The majority of the United States wealth goes to the Caucasian race in the United States. And they didn't get that wealth by themselves. We built the wealth and it got exploited through us. It's time for us to get equal share. What are you doing to make that happen? Don't tell me about some food drive up the street. What are you doing? What are you doing to deal with white supremacy from the rooter to the tutor? What are you doing? What are you doing to bring more money here and to programs that's going to lift up the community? What are you doing to make sure they teach true black history instead of the European taught history in the United States? Tired of hearing about King George and all that stuff. Tell me about some true black history. The whole point of this particular video is we people got to start detach ourselves from these political icons, so to speak, stars, so to speak. Oh, I went to AOC and I sat down and I had lunch with them. I've done that. I mean, that was me. Like I said, I got some political friends, but I'm on they behind. I was on a meeting, meeting with Jamal Bowman on Skype, and he was talking about some of the things that they're doing here, and some of the things he's planning on doing here to create jobs here, like a train station running from the Bronx to, instead of going all the way. I mean, some good things. The bottom line is, bro, I need to talk to you in person. Okay? Because I'm one of the ones that's going to be on your behind. Because I want you to be a great politician. But in order to be a great politician, you got to do something. You got to do something. You got to do a whole lot for your people first. Especially the ones who got you in the office more than anything. How the heck black people just let Joe Biden get in the office, and now he's in the office, you don't put the heat on him to get something done for you. Case in point, let me go to the next story, and I thank everybody for coming on. The next story I want to talk about is crucial. Let me pull that up. We've been dealing with this and we really got to talk about this a little bit because it's very important. Tammy Duckworth. Talk about her for a second. Can you guys hear me? Yeah, you can hear me. All right, so Tammy Duckworth. Tammy Duckworth go bodyguard hard for her people. Yeah, I mean, I don't like it. I mean, but I got to give respect to it. Tammy Duckworth said, look, don't expect me to vote for nobody if you ain't going to do nothing for my people. No black, no Asian agenda, no vote. Don't expect me to confirm a doggone thing unless I see you do some movement for Asian people. Now, we talking about people who only voted probably less than 50%. Less than 50% for Democrats. Let's be modest and give them 60%. 60%, let's say 60% of Asian Americans voted. And you got an Asian American that was running as a vice president. I mean, she's a chameleon. She pick up whatever she can to get a vote. I need to get the black vote, I'm black. I need to get Jamaican vote, I'm Jamaican. I need to get Indian vote, some Indian. I need to get some Pacific Island vote, some one of you. Barack Obama was Pacific Island. She goes bodyguard hard for her people. She tells Joe Biden, don't expect me I want you to listen to this lesson, people in life. Tammy Duckworth, like her or hate her, and I'm no fan of her. Now that's Grace Mean right there. But I'm talking about Tammy Duckworth. She went all out. And said, look, I'm not confirming a doggone thing unless you start doing more for our people. Well, lo and behold, Senate passes hate crime bill responding to a wave of violence against Asian Americans. Responding not to a wave of deaths, but a wave of violence. Do you realize how long it took? You realize the lynching laws just got dealt with 100% in the last 5 years? Folks didn't want to get rid of the lynching laws. Do you realize they still lynching folks to this day? Black folks? House Judiciary Committee, meanwhile, considered a similar version of the bill introduced by Representative Grace Ming on Wednesday. The Senate passed legislation Thursday targeting anti-Asian hate crime after an uptick of incidents during the COVID-19 pandemic. So you get knocked down by some crazy nut-weighing white guy. Let's even say a black guy. You get knocked down. Hey, that's wrong. That fool need to be whooped. But the whole government moved on mostly knockdowns, not murders, but just the pushing around of grandma and pushing around of grandpa, or, you know, and all that bad. Don't get me wrong. Let me say this out here. I want y'all to think I'm being insensitive, because you push my grandma, my mama, my uncle down. You know, we come to get you. When I say we, I mean we. We don't play that. And every community should have a defense in their community. So when I go into Chinatown, or I go into the Asian area, Queens over there in Roosevelt and Main Street, and I see the Asian Pacific Protection Society, I don't get upset. I mean, they don't look like they can do too much of nothing. If somebody wanted to take them down, and it looked like 2 or 3 guys can take all 6 of them down, but you don't know, you don't know what kind of fighting styles these people got. You don't know if they got a gun. And I'm for communities defending themselves. I think black communities should defend the citizens in their community. I think the Asians should defend the citizens in their community. It should be equal defense without the police calling somebody terrorist, black extremists. Without the FBI trying to enter in to see what's going on. New Black Panther Party. Ain't nobody saying that about Asians. And they got their protection group, because that's all the Black Panthers were. They were just so sick and tired of people going around pushing their people around, mainly white people coming over there pushing their people around in our neighborhoods, going around trying to get money from our businesses. We got tired of that stuff. No, you ain't coming here. You coming here with that foolishness, we got something for you. And that's what the Asians doing. You come here with some foolishness, we got something for you. I'm not mad at that. I'm just upset how you don't treat this equal. Look at this. The Senate passed the legislation 94-1. 94-1. And the only person who opposed the bill was your good old friend who was trying to push the COVID bill over with the $2,000. Y'all talking about, oh, this guy's a different Republican. He going up against Trump. No, the one person who opposed the bill was Josh Hawley. All the rest of them voted for it. The legislation introduced by Senator Mazi Hirono, Democratic from Hawaii, in March would direct the Department of Justice, not your local police department, not the Roscoe P. Coltrane's in your neighborhood. The Department of Justice to expedite the review of hate crimes related to COVID-19 that were reported to law enforcement agencies and help them establish ways to report such incident online and perform public. How in the world Asian violence can skip from your local police department straight to Washington, D.C., straight to the Department of Justice, but when it comes to black hate crimes, we got to go through hook, line, and sinker, all that kind of stuff just to get it noticed. Hate crimes related to COVID-19. But yet, most of the hate crimes they're trying to link toward blacks. Like, is hate crime going? If hate crime was to go down in Main Street in Roosevelt right now, some idiot, and it could be another Asian, because 9 times out of 10, wherever your community, people talking about, well, when y'all gonna do something on black crime? The same time y'all gonna do something about white on white crime, because most of the white crimes happen in white neighborhoods. Black crimes happen in black neighborhoods, and Asian crimes happen in Asian. 9 times out of 10 is probably another Asian doing all this stuff, but they're gonna try to make it seem like it was a white Trump apologist or it was a black extremist that just don't, just don't like Asians. Well, majority of the time it's not. Uptick. So you went from 5% violence in the Asian neighborhood to 10%, and it's an uptick. Now that is an uptick. That's double. But it ain't nowhere near the rates of violence that goes on in our neighborhood by our own protectors, let alone one of our own people, or let alone somebody coming into the neighborhood starting stuff. Right, look, in New York, we deal with all kind of people. We got to deal with Kosovo people from Russia. We got all kind of people we got to deal with, But most small towns, usually the crimes happening in your neighborhoods, and it's usually from your people. White people ain't coming to the black community doing that much crime unless they're police officers or some fool, and vice versa. Black people not going into the white neighborhoods doing stuff like that. I mean, we can't even walk around with our girlfriends or we can't even drink a soda, some tea and Skittles without somebody trying to kill us. This thing skipping went all the way to the Department of Justice in this bill. The bill will also direct the Attorney General and the Department of Health and Human Services to issue best practice guidance how to mitigate racial discriminatory language in describing the pandemic. So for the pandemic, you'll go all out for Asians, but for a history of police brutality, police overreach, police domination, police murder, and police killing, and all that kind of stuff, and let's get off the police. Just go straight to white supremacists. That's not police department. And the handlers that allow this stuff to happen. They go straight to the Department of Justice, Department of Human Health, and they got a plan to mitigate racial discriminatory language in describing the pandemic. Racism has always existed in America. Unfortunately, the legacy of anti-Asian sentiment goes back centuries to dark chapters in our history. Yeah, but it wasn't nowhere near on the level of ours. Like the Chinese Exclusion Act and the internment of Japanese citizens during the World War II, what happened to all our acts? Is there any act against that dealt with anti-blackism? Put it in the chat. Name me some laws, people, that has been put on the books to deal with anti-blackism or anti-black racism. But the same time these people say legacies, centuries, they've been putting in laws to deal with the Chinese Exclusion Act, the Japanese citizen during World War II, people who were being discriminated because they were part of the enemy, so to speak, or look like part of the enemy. Those people who got discriminated, not only did they get laws put in place to help protect them, they got reparations. We can't get none of that. We can't get none of that. Now, folks, this is ridiculous. Now, we've made great strides since those days, but over the past several years, the forces of hate and bigotry seem to have gained strength. too often encouraged by our former president. Why you gotta blame this on Trump? I mean, don't get me wrong, he's to blame for some of it. Calling the, the Chinese flu or Chinese virus. Look, Chinese doesn't mean Asian all by itself. Asians are just one, Chinese is just one aspect of Asian culture. Now, not to defend Trump, but he just named it based on the region where it came from. It doesn't mean he was poking fun at Chinese people, but of course the Democrats and Americans in general, because they want to, doing whatever they can to pile on to the bigotry of Trump, and there's a lot to pile on, don't get me wrong. But they want to pile that on Trump and don't want to pile this on anybody else. And to keep himself from looking like a bigot, and he can't keep it. Joe Biden, you can keep yourself from looking like a bigot, but we know you're a bigot. Ain't nothing you do. You put lipstick on a pig, it's still a pig. You're still a bigot. And you can pass laws like this, but deep down inside, your laws has always been bigotry. Don't get me wrong, people can change. And he is an older man, but the way he talked to black people in that doggone closed meeting with black leaders, it still shows me that he's still a bigot. By passing this bill, the Senate makes it very clear that hate and discrimination against any group has no place in America. No. Don't even say this. Who said this crap? It won't even tell me who said this. The person who wrote this article, don't you even spit that crap out of your mouth. Now, we've made great strides since those days, but over the past several years, the forces of hate and bigotry seem to have gained strength, too often encouraged by our former president. He continued, by passing the bill, the Senate makes it very clear that hate and discrimination against any group has no place in America. Bigotry against one is bigotry against all. Now you want to speak our language because now it's happening to you. And black folks, if you don't 100% join their fight, then something wrong with you. There's something wrong with me. We don't need another anti-Asian. We don't need an anti-Asian bill. We need a black deal to deal with black and then just add Asians to that. But of course, as you see, white supremacists in both the Democratic and Republican Party, no matter what color they are, will support a bill. Let me go back up here. For Asians, 94-1. But then we look at this right here. Excuse me, my computer is slow. Then we look at this. The George Floyd Justice and Policing Act. Now, I'm going to take 2 days to go over both of these bills. Talking about what it would do. Folks, understand this. Understand this. 116. On June 17, 2020, after nearly a 12-hour debate, the House Judiciary Committee advanced the bill to the House floor on a party line vote, with all Democrats voting yes and all Republicans voting no. On the floor, the bill passed the Democratic-controlled House on mostly party line votes, 236 to 181. Now I know what you're saying. Oh, that's those doggone Republicans. They ain't going to support that because they support the police. I'm done with this story. I'm not going to go into. Can you see this? 236 to 181 in the House. But yeah, you got over here. You had over 90-some votes. Majority. Even Ted Cruz voted for the Asian bill. Ted Cruz voted for the Asian bill. Here's an article in the New York Times. White House pledged Asian American focus after Democrat threats nominees. And this is Duckworth. Senator Tammy Duckworth and Mazi Hirono had said they would support only diversity candidates until President Biden addressed the dearth of Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders in his administration. In other words, these two said, look, we're going to hold our vote. No Asian agenda, no Asian laws to protect Asian citizens. Forget about me supporting anybody that you're trying to get into office. Now, black people, when are you going to have enough bold guts and balls to do something like that? Ovaries, whatever you want to call them. When are you going to be the same way? Just say, no, I'm not giving you nothing until you get more stuff done for black people. I'm not mad at Tammy Duckworth. I'm not mad at Mazi Hirono. I'm not mad at them. Folks, how can I be mad at these people? They only doing what they're supposed to do. You're supposed to go bodyguard hard for your community. You're supposed to cape for your community. The number one coming out the gate isn't for all people, it's for your community. Republicans, they do that for their Republicans. If the white community do that for the white community, I'm not mad at the white community. I got two cameras I'm looking at. Oh, yeah, I look like I'm Debo on Friday, man. Eyes been all crossed out. No, look. Tammy Duckworth and Hiroshino put the heat on Joe Biden. And look what that did. When are you going to put the heat and stop freely giving up your vote like you some kind of, I mean, even prostitutes got a price for their goodies, bruh. You know, it's going to cost you. They even got a website said nothing under $80. You know, so you got to put a value on yourself. And black people, you need to stop undervaluing who you are and your potential and how valuable your vote is. Nobody is voting in the high numbers as you got. Nobody get up in the morning, grab grandma, auntie, and even shame and down talk other blacks because they didn't vote for this politician. But yet you voting for this politician who ain't gonna do nothing for you. He probably say he will, but he haven't done it in the past. What you do today determine your tomorrow. And your past history can repeat itself in the future if you haven't done a 180-degree turn and repented for your sin. And Joe Biden has not repented for his sins for that crime bill and a whole bunch of other stuff. But because of his elder age, he probably have softened his tone. But I'm not buying it. You're just an older bigot. And these people are not going to do anything on the left or the right until you apply some political pressure on them. And you need to be like the Asian community. They got y'all thinking that there's a epidemic of violence going on in the Asian community. No, there's an epidemic of violence going on in the black community. And most of it is coming from our protectors who we pay to protect us. And they're not serving and protecting. They clocking up upside the head and killing us. Heck, they're killing their own. Take that lesson from Tammy Duckworth and Hiroshino. They told Joe Biden, look, you need my support for anything? Start doing something for my people. James Clyburn ain't got that kind of guts. The CBC ain't got that kind of guts. So don't tell me I'm not Karen Bass or none of these people. No, we're going to talk about the George Floyd flying bill. That's one of the weakest bills for black justice. You know, the doggone Asian bill is more powerful than that. And folks, we don't really need a whole bunch of new bills. Just force them to protect all citizens and criminalize them like they would do anybody else. If I sit there and beat somebody up and put my knee on the chest knowing they yelling, I can't breathe, I got asthma, I can't breathe, and I'm tightening up the choke to make sure folks, there's already laws on the book to deal with murder. You just need to stop giving these police officers clemency, qualified immunity, all that kind of stuff. You don't need to come up with a whole brand new crime bill. Enforce the crime laws that's out now. Of course, you need to criminalize people for falsely calling the police. I call the police too many times. Guess what? They're going to write me a ticket or throw me in the jail if they're false police reports. Make that happen to white people who call police on black people because they just walking in the neighborhood. You don't know what I'm doing in that neighborhood. I could be delivering papers. I could be selling a product, could be selling Kirby vacuum cleaner. You don't know what I'm doing in the neighborhood. It ain't none of your business what I'm doing in the neighborhood. Worry about your house. I'm not at your house. Worry about something. Could be sister up the street. Your white neighbor got a little jungle fever. She asked me to come over to the house. Ain't my fault. Go talk to her, your neighbor. She like, ain't my fault. She got jungle fever. I don't even like that term, jungle. Because most black people are not. All right, so I got one more story. My whole point of this story is the Asian community who don't get out and vote like black people. How in the world are they able to muster up enough cojones to put the brakes on Joe Biden and force the Democrats to vote in the majority? To vote the Republicans, to have the Republican vote in the majority. Ted Cruz, of all people, voted for this. You know it's going to do same in the House when it goes to the House. It's going to get passed easy. But that George Floyd bill ain't going to get so passed easy because we got too many people that want to protect white supremacists, bigots, cops who don't need to be on the force. They want to give the police the authority to be the new Gestapo. Gestapo. Black people, you need to stop selling yourself short. Stop commending yourself to these political parties. And do what Asians do. Asians don't show no commitment. Asians say, you want something done for you? You got to do something for us. Now, we got more juice. I mean, I'm not down it. I'm just telling the truth. We got more juice. We're running most of the political parties. Majority of us are running. We got a congressional black caucus full of black people. There's so many black people in the Democratic Party. We pretty much can own the Democratic Party. But no, we allow the Democrat to own us with these shenanigans and these mind games and these fear tactics and things like that, instead of taking these shenanigans, these mind games and fear tactics and turning it on them so you can gain power just like these Asians are doing right now. Hey, I'm just one person. I only could do my part. You only could do you. Remember my motto at the end. What you do tomorrow will determine your today. I mean, whatever you do today will determine your tomorrow. And you should make a mark on this world. It cannot be erased. And if you haven't done it, you could start today. You have to make your mark on this earth that cannot be erased. Whether somebody see it or not, that's not the point. Just make it. And starting tomorrow, black people, you need to detach yourself from these political parties and make them attach themselves to you, because that's just what Tammy Duckworth did in Hiroshima. One more story, and we're done for today. Me and Peoples. Now let me play this with Tammy Duckworth, what she said while y'all here.
You have to call out bad behavior instead of turning the other way. We've had Asian Americans attacked in public places and no one comes to their aid. No one comes to their rescue. It happens on a daily basis. Somebody makes racist comments in a grocery store.
Welcome to America. Welcome to blackness. We get Asians doing that in the black community, and Asians get most of their money out of our own community.
Say nothing. So, every individual can make a difference. You can teach your children that these are racist terms and this is not acceptable. You can model the best behavior and call it out when you see it. Stand up and...
Hey, I got to show this, folks. Give me a moment. I got to show this. This is so important because in my community, we make sure we don't let our forefathers or grandfathers teach us that behavior, you know. But this is what Tammy Duckworth had to say.
Speak out when you stand up and speak out when you see instances of racism happening. You have to call out bad behavior instead of turning the other way. We've had Asian Americans attacked in public places and no one comes to their aid. No one comes to their rescue. It happens on a daily basis. Somebody makes racist comments in a grocery store. My own
Folks, I don't know. If a black person see an Asian being attacked in public, most of the time that black person ain't gonna go the other way. They're gonna defend them. But when somebody attack us, we get people to talk, but they don't come in our defense. We got people who sat there and videotaped the whole George Floyd, but they was too scared to defend us. You had an Asian brother standing right there talking to the people videotaping, making sure that they don't get involved with this murder of George Floyd. And why that brother ain't get elected? I don't want to call him a brother. It's just something that comes out of me. Why he didn't get charged? He sat there and watched it happen and allowed it to happen, didn't he start? But you go into the grocery store with me and you decide to steal a beer and you get caught. Guess who goes to jail? Me and you. Guess who get charged? Me and you. But when something like that happened, like murder, this guy don't get no charges?
own mother, when she goes grocery shopping, sometimes has to endure racist comments, from other shoppers, and the people around them may hear but say nothing. So, every individual.
Now, folks, I got Asian family members. I'm talking about Korean, and told you that story before. Black people are one of the top patrons for Asian businesses. You ain't gonna hear us calling no names. And oftentimes our heart is so big, we would consider you as a brother. We consider everybody else that's our brothers, including white people. We don't shut our doors. They're wide open. And we defend all colors. Majority of us do. If you see somebody who don't do it, it's because they so fed up that I just had enough. Ain't nobody helping me, ain't helping them. And I get it. She said every individual can make a difference. Yes. And I hope you guys are making the difference doing that, because oftentimes it happens when black people patron Asian businesses, whether it's a nail salon, whether it's a retail store, whether it's a grocery store, whether it's a beauty supply store, or whatever. And oftentimes we get into arguments. They want to make it a law that you can't even get in an argument with an Asian, because they would consider that verbal violence. What the heck is a verbal violence? You're not my wife, cutting me with your words. I ain't got to sleep with you and go home with you. Now you're trying to control free speech. I can't show you that I'm upset. I ain't got to hit you. I ain't got to call you a name, but me cussing you out. You cussing me out? This country has gotten so weak and timid, man. We can't even get upset with each other. So now you're going to make getting upset with each other verbally a hate crime. And you know how many people that cussed me out and walked away? I'm like, my God, you ain't have to say all that to me. Just leave me alone. Go on. I'm not trying to fight you because you cuss me out.
Individual can make a difference. You can teach your children that these are racist terms and this is not acceptable. You can model the best behavior.
Timmy, we're talking about stuff that's old. Why are you telling us this now? We've been talking about this for hundreds of years, that what we should do. This is nothing new.
And call it out when you see it happening, because it's happening all over the country.
It's been happening. So she put that up there for her Senate run. All right, I'm really done with this story, folks. I'm really done with this. Oh God. Here she is talking this trash. We as black people been telling our kids this. I hope you white people been telling, majority of you white people been telling your kids this, but some white people don't do this. They teaching hate. It look like they pulling a baby out of the coon, before they sticking their head, like my Lord says, sticking their head in there and say, you need to hate black people. They gonna take everything from us. We gonna be the minority. And kids grow up hating black people. And then they end up hating Asian people. Well, not as much as black. And that's the whole deal. We can hang with you Asians. We can hang with you, some of you Latinos, because some of you Latinos, y'all look white anyway. I mean, some of you Latinos think you white. But you black guy, unless you conservative and married to a white woman, if you ain't Tiger Woods or, if you're not... back to what I was saying about Tammy Duckworth. These Asian people who have nowhere near the political power of black people are getting things done. Most of them don't have a party allegiance, and they getting ish done. And black people, we need to start detaching our parties just like them. Malcolm X told you that a long time ago, but you didn't want to listen to the brother. And you let white society tell us that he was a terrorist. And he was anti-American. Now, some of you know different now. Detach yourself from these political powers and start putting the heat on them. And just start, I don't trust you. I don't even like you. No, I don't support you. I don't care if my grandma, my auntie, my mama support you. It don't go that way no more. I need you to support me and my agenda before I give you any kind of support. That's what Tammy Duckworth did. Told Joe Biden, I ain't voting for nobody till you get this stuff done. And they got it passed. One no vote. Black people, it's time to do the same thing. Let me go to the last story, and then I'm done for the night, peoples. I'm done for the night. Just give me a moment. Let me go back to that. So, Cuomo, the younger brother of Andrew Cuomo, and you know how I feel about Andrew Cuomo. Let me say something before I get into the Andrew Cuomo, Chris Cuomo situation. And again, next Wednesday, I think we're going to go over we're going to go over the George Floyd bill, what's in it, what shouldn't be in it. And like I said, some of these things are already law. All we need to do is just make sure it get enforced, even the police officers, that they don't get to hide under some kind of shield when they commit a crime. A lot of laws out there to deal with. All right, so let me pull this up. Talk about it. Now, you know, I got my issues with Cuomo. I met Andrew Cuomo a couple times as a union organizer, and I tell you, when I left that guy, my stomach felt sick. He's just too much a con artist, man. I mean, it's got too much of mafia in him. I mean, just I'm white, I'm black, I'm gay, I'm blue, I'm red, I'm totem pole. They are doing whatever they can, as usual, to continue to keep you in that web called the Democratic Party. So they would talking points to make you feel like they are on their side, just like AOC did. Just like Bernie Sanders did. And just like Barack Obama did. Just like Joe Biden did. But let's hear what Andrew Cuomo has to say about these laws that need to be changed. Chris Cuomo tries getting through to his skin folks about police reform. Nothing will change until your kids started getting killed. CNN anchor Chris Cuomo delivered a stern message to white people while discussing police reform during his show on Saturday, saying they would start caring about the topic if it was white children being gunned down. And look, I don't disagree with him on this. I just don't think he's the person who needs to be saying this. Shootings, gun laws, access to weapons. Oh, I know they'll change. Your kids start getting killed. White people kids start getting killed, Cuomo said. Now, let me see if he actually says this in this video.
How many more die of the pandemic, dying from police shootings? George Floyd, Daunte Wright. I wonder if you'll remember their names 6 months from today, because they'll be replaced by so many others. You're here, people. What are you going to do when you see these shootings? You know what you're going to do. That George Floyd, did you hear about him? That Daunte Wright, did you hear about him? That 13-year-old Adam, you know he was a gangbanger. Why do that? Because you want to make the problem them. Takes the onus off the idea that you're wrong about policing not needing to change. Forget that police are trained to deal with non-compliance with force that is not lethal. Hey, comply or die. Yeah, I mean. And you know what the answer is? You really do. You don't like it. I don't like it. It scares me. Shootings, gun laws, access to weapons. Oh, I know when they'll change. Your kids start getting killed. White people's kids start getting killed. Smoking that doobie that's actually legal probably in your state now, but they don't know what it was, and then the kid runs and it pop, 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 pop.
Now, here's the thing about it. White kids do get killed, and white kids do get killed by police. I went over a couple stories of a couple of white kids. A couple of them had mental issues. But so many white people, white kids, they get a break. They can run around butt naked with a knife and nothing happened to them. But a black man fixing the doorbell, cops come up to the house, he turn around with the screwdriver in his house, he's gone. In his hand, he's gone. And even though white people do get killed, it's nowhere near the ratio of blacks. And it's usually hidden from the public eye. And even if white kids get killed, they're still not going to do whatever they can to change the laws. Because, first of all, a lot of Republicans and Democrats are beholden to the NRA. Now, look, let me tell you this. Even though I live in New York, I'm licensed to carry. I'm good. I believe you should have a right to bear arms. Now, I don't think you have a right to be like your brother on I'm gonna get you sucker with all those guns strapped up to you to the point where you fall down on the ground and the guns go off killing you. I don't think you should have that many type of guns on you. But I still believe you have a right to bear arms for the protection of your family. And I do preach the gospel of black people need to bear arms. I don't think you should be going out here bullying people with your arms, but you should have arms to let them know that ain't nothing gonna go down around here, not to my family, no, it ain't happening here. We're well protected. But if these people are not, do you actually think that all of a sudden when white kids get killed, they're going to be sympathetic? Get out of here.
Cop was justified. Why'd you run? Oh, he had a baseball game tonight. Huh. A white kid. Oh, big family. That house over there. Those start piling up. What is going on with these police? Oh, what? Maybe we shouldn't even have police. That kind of mania, that kind of madness, that'll be you. That'll be the majority, because it's your people. See? Now, black people start getting all guns, forming militias, protect themselves. Can't trust deep state. Woo-hoo! You'll see a wave of change in access and accountability. We saw it in the 60s. That's when it changes, because that's when it's you.
Yeah. He's right. The moment we start bearing up arms, you know, that's when Ronald Reagan, when he was the governor of California, started acting, you know, losing his mind and things like that. But look, you're not going to stop us from having the right to bear arms. You can strip away the doggone license down in Texas and tell you, no, we still going to protect ourselves. And ain't nothing you're going to do to stop us. But I'm here to let you know, they can end up killing a white kid, because they do. It's still not going to stop them. The federal government just need to enforce, number one, the laws that's already on the books, and make sure it reaches to those people too. Now, I don't know it all, but I'm just telling you what's in my heart. We need to start doing more psychological evaluation before you become a police. If you do that to a 911 operator, why are you not doing it to the people who want to join the academy? There need to be evaluations every single month, if not a week. There need to be a debriefing every day when a crime, every time a crime occurs. Psychological evaluation. And if you see any kind of psychological issues going with a police officer, I know I was married to one, and I loved my ex-wife, but she wasn't 100% there mentally. And it was starting to mess with my mental capacity. There's oftentimes paranoid, always having these weird dreams. Sorry. I remember some issues that was going on with my ex-wife. They told her either resign or we're going to fire you. She resigned. Want to keep that pension. We're not married. See, when you take on the job of police officer, it's no longer a job, it's who you become. It's your whole mentality. And then in your mind, you're fearing that, what if I don't come home? So when you got somebody that's already nutso, intentional, and always tense, and you put them in a position that's just going to increase it, that's the fault of the police department. You just ain't built for this, bruh. Like I told you before, I was going to be a police officer, small town in Suffolk, Virginia, cute town. I just thought I was going to be the black, OP or whatever, Mayberry or whatever, and get a nice check, get a nice home, and raise a family, things like that. But then when they asked me a couple questions about finding money, I was like, hey, I can't even promise you and tell that lie that I was going to bring all that money back. Especially if I got bills. I ain't going to sit there and lie to you, bruh. It'll be very tempting. I'm not going to say I'll do it, but the thought will come. That was enough for them not to put me on the force. So why you can't do that when it comes to people with a high issue of mental instability? You're going to hire him on the force knowing that he got a record of beating up his wife. Anyway, let me get off the subject. The point is, white people do get killed by cops, but the ratio is so freaking low that it's, and it's not going to get out in the news. Heck, you got a halfway videotape and jump into the tape and everything else to get and go on Facebook Live and put it live on, in order to get some attention when it comes to black people. The point is, there's laws already on the book that they can enforce to deal with this mess. They can add on to the laws, just like they'll always, stop trying to make this division between Asian hate crime and race laws against blacks. Look, we already been putting books on the laws for hundreds of years. Just attach them to that. Attach anybody else to those laws, but don't separate it. Anyway, I'm done with this story. Cuomo trying to speak for black people. Bro, you can't speak for us. You're a rich Italian man standing in Long Island, one of the biggest, beautiful houses in the area, as well as you got a high-rise apartment in Lower Manhattan. And the only real relationship you got with black people is the man that you love to kiss all the time. And Don Lemon don't even represent us. Don Lemon will throw blacks under the bus for the LGBT community quick, fast, in a hurry. And look, I ain't got no problem with, you know me, I have no, your community is your community, and you're supposed to cape hard for your community. I do that for my community. But at the end of the day, I'm black. And even if I'm half Asian and half black, if I lean more toward the black, I'm still black. They see me as a black man. And I have to worry about whether I'm going to make it home just like the cops have to worry about. They have to make it home. And even in a suit and tie, even with a briefcase, and I got a little side business, a little side hustle that I try to make. And even coming back, whether I got a prospect or a client and sealed the deal and everything, I'm coming back. I had to deal with police officers thinking I got something in the briefcase and throwing me on the wall and searching me and all that kind of stuff. Well, we got a long way to go, and I'm over 2 hours. Well, first of all, let me see who's up here. Oh man, let's see. Let me see if I can pull this up. Dingo, my baby, Phantom Beat. Guys, thank you for being on the show. Oh man, thank you, Information Man. Appreciate it. Let me tell you something about Information Man. I haven't had the chance to grace the show, but I learn a lot from that brother's show. Sometimes I watch the show and just sit back and learn. And his study and knowledge on this, because he talked about it on the Tim Black show, on dealing with these police officers, and the data that the brother got on this is immaculate. So I advise you to go to the show and watch the show. I watch the show. You know, certain people that I watch the show, I don't get on to try to promote myself because it's about their show. And this brother got on the show, and he's not even promoting himself. He even gave a super chat to the show. I appreciate it, brother. And but I'm telling you, go check out his show because he's more in depth in this than I am. A lot of things I talk about on this show, I learned from his show. I learned from a lot of other people's show, like Professor Like True. I learned from, I'm a learner. Now, I do my own research. I do my own data, and I bring what I know so far, but I don't act like I know it. If I need to get more information, I go to the Information Man show. And I sit there and listen and learn and take notes. But one day we're going to get together and I'll probably pop up on the show. I haven't learned how to bring people on this show yet. I'm still working on it. Heck, I can't even get this right. But I'm working on it. But I do appreciate you, brother. And people get a chance, go check out his channel. Like, subscribe. I mean, donate to the channel. I mean, awesome channel. The brother is growing. I mean, I think he zoomed past me now. But the brother is getting the work done. And I know he's going through some of the same thing that I'm going through with the suppression and things like that. I mean, because with the wealth of knowledge he have, that brother should be at 100,000 already. So go like, subscribe his channel because he bring it. He should be at 100,000. But you know how YouTube are to black media and black men that does media and talk about the issues concerning the black community and things like that. They do whatever they can to keep us quiet. So I appreciate you, brother, for participating in this show, and everybody else who participated in the show and gave us donation to the PayPal account. I appreciate it. Like I said, I don't do this for the money. I work. I do what I got to do to pay the bills. You know, I can't depend on, especially YouTube, man. They suck, man. Yeah, I said YouTube, you suck. I don't want you making money off. If I can find a way for you not to, I will stop you. but I appreciate all the love and support. And I've been on here a little too long. And hey, this is Robert Brown, formerly known as Bob TV, still Bob TV, but of the Rob Report, now the Bobby Brown Show. And I want to thank everybody for hanging in there with me. And until Wednesday, 11 o'clock live, always remember this, that you're on this earth, make a mark that cannot be erased. And if you have not made that mark yet, do it today. Do it today. And good morning. Good night.